Yo, we started like way later than we were supposed to.
What time is it, man? It is 7 p.m. here in California.
I'm not late. You're late. Everybody's late.
7:03.
I'm not late. Why are you late?
I was looking at my clock. That's why I'm late, because I was looking at my clock. I'm gonna move my mic. I hope it doesn't mess everything up. It messed everything up earlier today.
I'm gonna be honest with you. We were waiting for all the viewers to make it to social media.
Let's see if we have anybody. Let's get some comments going from the chat.
Are we?
I guess I should open up my main page to see who's here, how many viewers I have. I have power over. That I can do.
Yeah.
Because I got the
look at my eyes, bro.
Oh,
them allergies got me.
You've been crying.
Yeah, man.
Well, you live in the woods, bro.
Yeah.
That's why you live in the woods.
No, I don't see. Hold on.
So this conversation is pretty interesting because you brought up the fact that you wanted to talk about Ptolemy and basically the geography. You had the idea of. Let me bring it up real quick because this is actually. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can make it.
All right, 3 watching now. Let's get it going. Everybody, thank you so much. That is not Ptolemy. That is Babylon.
No, I said you wanted to talk about Ptolemy, but you wanted to start off with.
Start here because, well, oh, there you guys both are. I see your notifications.
What are we going to talk about today?
Well, I'm going to talk about this, and then I'm going to talk about that thing I saw in the sky last night. And then you had a couple of topics. Let's talk about this real quick because I just want, hey, Howard Young says hi. Look, this is it. I'm going to show you these pictures right now. So this is the history. I got it figured out. Finally, took me a long time, years. So this is it. I promise it's going to be quick. Ready? This is Babylon. That's 600 BC. That is also, wait, is that really Babylon is 600? How do I get out of there? Oh, over here.
The 600 are from Greece.
Okay, wait. 6th century BC. So wait a minute. I don't believe this number, to be honest. I don't believe this number. It says 6th century BC. I don't believe that. I think that's not true. Yep. But now let's go to the next one. And this is Greece. And this is the Anaximander's map. And look at the date. As old as Babylon? I don't think so, right? So anyways, let's look at it real quick. You see Italy, the Mediterranean. They knew the shape of the Mediterranean. But the Black Sea, they didn't get it. They didn't have the Caspian Sea. The Nile River didn't go through like that, but it was pretty much, you probably could get through, I believe. In my heart, I believe you could get through. But go to the next one. Where is it? Uh-oh. I think I need to reload this one. Hold on. Okay, there we go. No, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Hold on. We got a problem.
Around we go.
Yeah, okay, hold on. I want to go to this one. This map changed things. It's a little bit more recent, right? Not 600, but 550. And now you can see some stuff. I want to talk about this. This is Greek. This is Greek. It's the time of Herodotus for sure. One thing you don't see is the line that goes right across here, because they believed that the Nile also flowed from Atlantis, the Atlas Mountains. Look, guys, I just want to make it clear. We already know the Atlas Mountains was Atlantis. And Herodotus knew it, and Plato knew it. And I'll show you other maps if you want to see it. But this map, it doesn't show that. But it does show this brown. That's the Atlas Mountains. These are all mountains, right? The only mountains that Herodotus and Plato knew about was the Atlas Mountains. All right, now let's move on. Okay, so this is Greek, right? Now some changes were made. Now, by the way, this is not very detailed about Africa, right? There's more detail here we can talk about. It's not in this map because this is a conservative website. So we go to Ptolemy. Now Ptolemy changes things up. Now you see that in the Sahara, you don't have a Nile that goes directly this way, that meets the Nile. And by the way, the meeting point is the ancient mega lake Chad is the meeting point. I believe it really was a meeting point. But now you see there's some mountains separating the Nile, and then you've got over here 2 big lakes, 2 big mega lakes. This is Ptolemy. By the way, Ptolemy was a Claudius. Ptolemy was a Roman. After they killed Ptolemy from Morocco, which was at that time called Mauritania. Now there's another map I forgot to show. I forgot to prepare something. Let me grab it real quick. I want to show you. I just got to find it real quick. And I'm going to grab
go ahead.
it.
Do that while you do that. So
Tell me right now. I already got it. I already got it. It's right here. It's already here. Now look at this. This is Rome. This is Rome in the 1st century. And as you can see over here, it doesn't say Morocco. It says Mauritania. So as you now see, it was a Roman name of a tribe that was defeated. They assassinated the last king of Mauritania, which was right here, meaning at Morocco. And that was, his name was also Ptolemy. So Ptolemy of Mauritania was the last king, and he was assassinated 40 AD. Simultaneously, Claudius Ptolemy made this map. This is when Christ was alive, right? And now they changed it. And instead of having that Nile coming from the Atlantis, and I promise you that was a thing, now they've changed it to this interior lake matrix, which really doesn't make any sense, right? But this Ptolemy map, you can find so many maps based on that Ptolemy map. And I can tell you now that this map, okay, I lost something. There's this map of the Odyssey right there. So this is a pretty cool website if you want to follow the Odyssey. And that is interesting. But going back to Ptolemy, I want to show you one. This was made in the 1300s. But the guy did his writings. It was all based on writing, right? By the way, the Bible was based on oral tradition. But map making was writing. Like Herodotus didn't make a map. He wrote a book. I want to show you this one picture, and then I'm going to stop talking. This is the Ptolemy map based on all the writing. This is like the final product. And this was done in the 1500s, but it was based on everything Ptolemy wrote. Now, I want to show you, that's obviously Africa, right? And when you zoom in, you start to see these rivers. Now, let me tell you something. This red line is the Tropic of Cancer, sorry. Tropic of Cancer. This one down here is the equator. And you can see some things that are standard for the Ptolemy map, like Libya interior, and down here, Ethiopia interior. That's a standard Ptolemy map thing. Is it real? Maybe, maybe not. I doubt it. But
this is mostly used for the trade routes, and especially in the ocean, as you can see on the markers right here. You see where the dots are, and on the left side there's the legend for that. So these are mostly all trade routes and what they traded for in the yellow, the red, and the green. And it's what the majority of the things of the trade routes. And as you can see in Portugal, they traded mostly the stuff that's yellow right there, and then red, and then there's yellow right there as well. You can tell by that alone.
Well, I think these are mountains right here. These are mountains.
Oh, that right there. It looks like those are very tough terrains. And
this is the
they mostly use the ocean. Yeah.
These are the Atlas Mountains. It says right there, Atlas.
Look at the rivers.
But it says here Mauritanian. This has got to be studied very closely. I really feel like something.
You can assume they're mountains because look at the rivers that lead from the mountains.
Well, let me just show you something. Maybe there's something I need to point out. I'm going to grab Google Earth and put it over here, and then
why do you think rivers are very important on maps?
Look,
they provide fresh water. That's why.
This is an ancient paleo river right here, and this river was actually around 500 years ago. I've seen maps that are only 500 years old that show a river leaving right here. This is all dried up now. That's the Rishat structure, right? And there was, I believe, an ancient sea here, but you can see the river came out. We know it came out here. I believe another one came out here. Now look at this. Watch this. By the way, let's go back. Let's go back.
Is there a circle?
Wait, one more thing. One more thing. Down here is Dakar. This is Capo Verde. This is actually used to be called Cape Verde. Now the islands are called the Cape Verde Islands, and one of them is Cape Verde. It's very confusing. But this is the Senegal River here, and down here there's the Gambia River, and those two rivers are here for sure, 100% right here. This one right there sticking out, and
Okay.
it shows the Senegal here and the Gambia here, in my opinion. But what about up here? Well, these are the ancient Atlas Mountain River outlets, and this is the Atlas Mountains. And this, what is that? It's a lake. Now, there's two lakes, by the way. Like I said, two lakes like this. That's very typical of the Ptolemy map, and it shows this matrix that doesn't really make sense, in my opinion. You can have Lake Megachad is down here, because I believe like in the other maps, the Greek ones and other ones I've seen, this is a meeting point right here, Lake Megachad. But in this map, it shows this, whatever. But what I can say is that, what is this thing? These mountains, it's right where the Richat structure is. That's the Tropic of Cancer. That's 23 degrees. And this point right here, that's Cape Blanco. And I can show you right here where that, I believe, is.
If they didn't show if they didn't show those lines, then whatever you're trying to explain could be or could not be. But if they didn't show that Tropic of Cancer up there,
Tropic of Cancer is right here, right there.
So you wouldn't have a voice in this, because people would be like, yeah, that could be anywhere. But just because that map shows that line right there, it gives you a point of reference where the equator is, and between the equator and that point gives you an idea that there was water there at one point, meaning that they drew that map from another map, and that map showed water.
It's been proven that water came right through. And there was a lake right here, and I'm not sure where it was. They don't even want to tell you. Maybe right here. Maybe this was it. I believe that lake flooded this whole area.
There could be that in the future, water will flow again in Northern Africa. There might be. And you know what? You might have to invest in the future in North Africa. It's probably the cheapest land right now to invest. And there could be a possibility that it will be green. And then certain parts of other Africa will become desert, and you'll lose your money if you have money down there. But good investment will be up north for those that like to invest.
Yeah, you're not going to get much done out here, that's for sure.
Not right now.
I mean, I actually won't even travel right there. I was detained a year ago today, April 1st. I was detained right there in Nouakchott for 2 days. I had to sleep in the airport on the bench.
No kidding.
Yeah, that was a year ago. And I was headed for the mine. I wanted to go to this
What is
place
that?
here.
What is that? Go back to that mountain.
Go
back to that mountain. Yeah, go back.
I believe that this mountain is called mine tailings from giants. This mountain was placed there. This is the largest iron ore mine in like the world. There's a train.
Look at that mountain. Isn't that beautiful?
Jump on this train. It's called the Iron Ore Train Hop-on Point. And this train is clearly empty right there. This train is one of the longest trains in the world. We can measure it real quick. Let's measure that train.
No, it's fine. We can tell from here. This is a very long train.
That is one and what? That is 1.6 kilometers. Let me just go to miles.
They must have they must have locomotives in between.
1 mile. 1 mile long.
What kind of locomotive is pulling that? There's 3 locomotives in the front. Look at that.
Hey, I live it where there's more than that. I guarantee. There's 3 here.
No,
it's
there's 3.
Gonna be a couple more here. Hold on. We're gonna see a couple more. No? Okay, you're right.
There's 3 locomotives, but I can't believe that. That's amazing.
I'm just gonna say one thing. Over here, where I used to own property in Cabazon, California, is a big thoroughfare for trains, and I've seen trains longer than this, longer than a mile for sure. But this is the longest iron ore train. Let's look at some pictures.
You know, Stig, possibly that's long because it's empty, but it might be shorter when it's full,
or even longer. Who knows? You might be right, and maybe they combine the locomotives too. They
Who
can do
knows?
whatever they
Yeah.
want. This is it. That's the iron ore. It's just this black
Money,
dirt.
money talks. BS walks.
Now you can get on that train. You got to just show up, and like this guy did, you jump on it, and you got to sit there with those piles of dirt, and you go all the way down to Nouakchott, I guess.
Oh my gosh! Look at that. Are they taking? Are they hobos? Yeah, they are.
It's
Those are
not
hobos.
quite hobo. They're travelers, and it's a free ride.
That's a hobo, bro. I'm sorry to say, the free ride.
No, these guys are white. These dudes are white. How you doing there, Tyrone?
Well, I was gonna. So I'm glad you said what you're saying because all right, I'm gonna pull up some.
How many UFOs do you think they see out there?
Good
How
point.
many you think?
I mean,
How many of them see
They're probably
Starlink
not
out
looking,
there?
man. They're not looking. They're all doing their daily prayer. They're not looking.
Do they have Starlink out there? Do you
Well,
guys
I
think
got
they
a
have
Starlink right now that I'm on. By the way, it goes out every night. It resets every night. About
I have
3
a
a.m.
question. How many Starlinks is there in a row? Talking about a train. We're talking. Remember, Jules
Okay, hold on, I'll
Verne.
show you.
No. Stop. Jules Verne. Okay, his book talked about a train going into space, and here we have Starlink traveling across the stars like a train. And we just witnessed what he was showing, a train through the desert. And then now we have Starlink that travels through the stars. Imagine somebody from the past seeing Starlink coming into the future, seeing Starlink travel across the stars. They'll be freaking out, right? Right?
Okay, first of all, number one, Grand Anarchist, if you're investing in the Rashad, let's talk. I'm ready for your investment. Thank you for joining. I'll read those. Hey, look at this image. I took that picture last night. Is that Starlink?
Okay, so Stig, he was outside.
All you gotta do is just go online and look for the. I think they got a website where you can actually just go look. And see
What
where
time
it's
did
at.
you
Yeah.
see this, Stig?
Yeah, just go look online.
It's hard for me to say, like 7 p.m. when the sun went down. I was kicking it outside. I went back out because I was looking at Leo. Leo's in the sky in the east.
All right.
And this, I'll show you the. Let me just show you where I saw it. Let me just show you where I saw it. Now, you guys all know the Big Dipper, right? You know the Big Dipper. There's the Big Dipper, right? You can see it. Yes or no?
When was it? On yesterday?
Look
Was
at
it
this
yesterday?
right here. I'm in California, and the Big Dipper was looking like that. That's the Big Dipper, and that line was right there. I was like, "What the f?" And it was right there, and it just moved in this direction. And I got the picture. I was lucky enough to get that picture of it, and that's it. That's what I got. And you can see 2 stars. I think one of them's from the Big Dipper. I'm not sure. I think it was outside the Big Dipper finally when I got this. I got lucky because I took about 20 shots. And this is the only shot I got. And I saw that line moving. And it's hard for me to believe that's Starlink. But I was actually going to ask a friend of mine, and I didn't do it yet. He follows the Starlink stuff. And I also kind of followed it. I've never seen a line like this. And when you guys are the ones who brought that up, I've never seen a line like that. To me, it doesn't make sense to be anything but satellites, really. They're all in a line, maybe. But what the F? I don't think Starlink is designed to all be in a line. They need to be scattered. They need to be spread out more. Why would they be in a line like that? Waste resources.
I'm asking right now. I'm looking.
Yeah. That line, I saw that. I was like, what the F am I seeing? He doesn't have that kind of money. Grand Arcanist. That's okay.
April 9. Okay, so April 9, mission 1721 enter orbit shortly after liftoff at 7:39 p.m. PDT at April 9, 2026.
April 8th. April 8th. And maybe a little later, maybe 8 p.m., maybe 9 p.m. April 8th. It's 9th right now. And this was last night. In fact, I can tell you what time it was because I walked in and I put it on the WhatsApp. I shared it with you right away, guys. So let me just look at the time.
So no, there was no Starlinks being launched on April 8th. So,
Well, what are
bro,
you talking
you
about? Launched?
had
It's not launched.
when they launch Starlink, you see a trail of Starlinks
Okay,
being
actually,
launched.
regarding that, I just saw a picture. I'll share it with you. It was a launch. It just happened, and they shared it. This is different, and I actually had this on Twitter, but we're about to share it on Facebook. Is where I got this picture from because I got to make sure it's in the right spot. It was a launch just last night, 2 nights ago, but it's not what I saw. I promise. Okay, hold on here. What's going on? Oh, Facebook wants to be difficult. Sorry. Let me give you okay, I'll just get it. Here I am. Facebook wants to be difficult. Let's try this again. It's a launch that happened just last night. You've seen that. I've seen these again and again. So that's why I want to show this to you so you know what a Starlink launch looks like. Because I've seen them again and again. Hold on, coming soon. You talk. I'll find it. I promise. And I'm gonna put it right up there. Oh, hey, this is cool. Check this out. This is yesterday. I took this picture. These birds, these are quails. They were in my backyard. Hold on, I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find that Starlink. Oh, there it is. I found it. Here it is, right here. Check it out. That is a Starlink launch right there. And you always see something right there. It's a little like a right. Okay, let's zoom in.
That's a rocket, not a satellite.
Okay, I guess I don't know the difference to be honest.
That's a rocket. That is SpaceX rocket.
All right, so that's
the Falcon. That is the Falcon.
Right here, yeah. This line right here that I saw last night, it was just a line in the Big Dipper. It wasn't like near any horizons or any launching or any. It was literally just like moving all together in synchronicity. Can't speak.
Yeah, I'm looking up right now to see if it was 5 or more or 5 or less satellites.
You know, it reminds me of the string of pearls.
But I'm not getting a straight answer from Google. Google does not have a straight answer. How many lights are there? Here, zoom in.
Look at this. Yeah, so you got at least these two, right? That's two big lights. There's a third one. They're all equivalently spaced, right? So we got those three over here, maybe two right there, and maybe one over here. Is that another one right there? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, that looks like those look like Starlink satellites.
I'm gonna do a little more research. I just wanted to throw it out there. In fact, I was hoping the audience could tell us what the hell we're looking at. Maybe somebody in the audience has an idea. And who has been? By the way, I heard Tyrone. What were you saying just now?
Oh no, yo! See, I'm just listening to y'all, but I was more focused on making sure that I remembered the things y'all were talking about, because y'all were jumping from subject to subject. So I just wanted to make sure that I could catch on to it.
Oh no, I don't got ADHD.
So check this out. So I'm actually going to share this because
go ahead. And I'm done talking for a while, so I'm going to be quiet.
British. Let me see.
If somebody could
all right, so this is what I just found out right here. So this is what you're talking about right here. This is one of my favorite sources right here. The British Museum talk about it when it comes up to the text.
That is the oldest world map. Yep. It's the oldest clay tablet of the. The other ones are on like parchment or whatever, but this is the oldest one in a clay tablet.
So what I was just looking at, so it tells you right here, what this is what we'll do. So y'all got to be quiet for a second. So we're going to let it read exactly what it says it's about. Tell me if you guys can hear this or not. Can you hear it?
No.
Huh?
No.
All right, hold on. All right, let me try this again. Let me reshare it, then share my screen. Okay, audio. Share audio. Let's see if it works now again. How about now? No? Yeah. Did y'all hear it?
I don't think I hear anything.
All right, so don't worry about it. So all right, so this is basically just a clay tablet, and it basically shows the world as a disc surrounded by a ring of water called the Bitter River. It's a Babylonian, of course. You said you don't believe in the date of what you say is 6 BC. So yeah, it is approximately about 6 BC. Okay. And it just basically talks about the world as a disc, and it gives you like a background check on it. You can go onto British Museum, or you can just type in one of the oldest maps, and it should bring this up. If you just literally just type in museum number 92687 in the British Museum website, it'll come up. But this is what I found interesting while I was looking at it while y'all was listening. So y'all have heard me talk about cylinder cell VA 243 so many times. Almost every single discussion. Me and you actually did a discussion on it, Stig, about cylinder cell VA 243, and I'm gonna bring it up real quick just so that way you guys understand what I was looking at. But damn, I gotta find out which one was let's see, cylinder cell. Let me view image. And it's doing this little security check. Okay, there we go. So this is the cylinder cell right here. Most of y'all already know about this. This is the one that Zachariah Sitchin always talks about, and he says right here, right? He says this is considered where Planet Nibiru is considered in there because it's 13 planet. He literally considers his book the 13th planet. Right here in the middle, where you see this star at, right? You see these look. You see, I can't really zoom in on here. I don't know. I can try. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. You see right here. Let's see. I don't know. Tell me if you guys can see me circling around the thing. You see this right here? This is what he's talking about, where he's talking about 13 planet. You see this little right here, and you see these little rays right there that comes out that makes it look like the sun. You guys see what I'm talking about?
No, hold on. I'm gonna try to look harder. It's hard. Yeah.
I'll make it bigger. I'll make it bigger. This right here.
Oh yeah.
You see how you see the little. Okay, you see the little rays that make it look like it's a sun?
Sure.
So Dr. Michael S. Heiser says that's the sun, or that is not the sun. That's not a depiction of a sun. And then, but Zachariah Sitchin says it's the sun. Now, I'm going to go back to my source, and I just figured this out, okay? Because this is just crazy. This just really blew my mind. I gotta remember to snip this. This is like at the 27 mark. So let me make sure I put this down 27 mark, because this is important, because this is how I do my research and pay attention. So you see those little rays right there. Now let's go back to the next source that I had, because everybody's always talking about Nibiru and 12th planet and Earth and all this other stuff, blah 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 blah. And but this right here is the representation of the sun, right? This is a representation of the earth. I mean, this tablet right here is a representation of the earth. But you could see these little triangle things that come out on the side that look almost identical. You can't see it all the way around because it's not all the way around. But you can see those little, huh?
No, keep going. No, I said thank you, Loretta, for commenting.
You see those little triangle things right there that look like it could be like a sun, like it's going out, in or out. Let's see if I can find me another picture.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
Yeah, you see it. Let's see if we can get another picture, because they got plenty of more pictures. This is all the. Yeah, you can see it clear right here too. Where is it? Hold on, let me make. Damn, it's so confusing when I got double monitors. Yeah, you can see it clear right here. Where one right here, one right here.
So what do each of those represent in that map?
Now, this is what I'm trying to find out. This is what I want to understand. This is the representation. If you remember cylinder cell VA 243, what we just looked at, cylinder cell VA 243, where the circle with those little rays looking thing, that was supposed to be the sun. That was both Dr. Michael S. Heiser did not agree that was a sun, and Zachariah Sitchin said it was a sun. Now, what if that was the earth? Actually, what if that's the representation of earth and the stars on the outside?
The
'Cause
reason
that's
why
what
they're saying the sun is, you see the pyramid shapes on the edge of the circle. That supposedly represents the star shape, meaning the rays of the sun. Supposedly that would represent the sun itself, but it could also represent the pyramids on Earth
no,
as
no, no,
well.
it's not. No, no, no. We're not even going to go down that road because we know exactly what this tablet talks about. We're not going to go down that it could possibly be in the pyramids because that's
If
not.
you're
That's
if you're
no
talking
because
about it being on Earth,
no because the
then look at
Sumerian
the images.
no because the pyramids in that time frame. You got to understand the
We're not
linguistic
talking
size.
about the pyramids of Europe. It could be any pyramids around the
No,
Earth.
what I'm saying
There's
is that
hundreds of
the
them.
pyramids in Mesopotamia weren't the pyramids that we think of as in Egypt. Every location had their pyramids, so that's why that wouldn't be the representation for a pyramid.
It's a
That right
world
there.
map, and from my understanding, it's the Mesopotamia is the middle of it all.
Yeah.
If I understand it right, I'm not 100% sure, and I admitted this in my last video. I'm like,
For
AI
argument,
just told me. Well, wait a minute, hold on.
but
I'm just
yeah,
trying to
go
finish.
ahead.
It's the AI told me this is 600 BC, and I'm like, oh, the oldest map, but not even. It's on stone. It's on a clay tablet. But the diagrams I saw, it's those pyramids are rays of the circle, like the outer parts of the map. Like, what do
See,
the cuneiform say?
this is what's interesting because I have a lot of sources to back this up that I can bring up, and I'm going to bring them up slowly but surely. But the point is that and there's peer-reviewed articles and everything. So if you even look at this because I got all my tabs up, so I got to find.
I
Okay,
said
so
openly, I don't know anything about this.
you can read this whole thing yourself. Anybody that wants to read it can go to there to read it themselves. But you can if you go all the way down. Hold on, let me see, because it says where it comes from an older text, but they don't know how old. And I just want to make sure I find that again because there's a lot of and you can see it on display too in room 55 on Mesopotamia 1500 to 539 BC display case 16. So anybody that wants to go see that for themselves, they can go to the British Museum and see it in person for themselves.
And also, there's breakdown websites that break down all the different parts. Each part is numbered. I think it's on Wikipedia. It's an image that's numbered. Each little circle has some type of meaning or representation. Mesopotamia.
Okay, here it goes. Yeah, right here. There it goes. A note at the end of the tablet states that. So this is what it says. A note at the end of the tablet states that it was copied from an earlier document, but the inclusion of Assyria, Benyakin, Haban, Yarotu indicates that it was composed no earlier than 9th century BC.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Loretta. The divot in the middle. What does that mean?
Well, okay, yeah. So that I'm glad you hear it brings it up.
Is it
So
part
the
of a
hole at the
machine?
center of the tablet. So here we go. Yeah, I got it right here. This I'm telling you, I studied it. This is something I studied a lot, and I'm about to show you why. And it's going to take me a few minutes because I got to get through it slowly. And these are great questions. The hole at the center of the tablet is a. Let me see if I can make it. Yeah, that's big enough. The hole at the center of the tablet is so-called firing hole deliberately made by the scribe. Similar holes appear in the middle of the text above the map and are at 2 points on the reverse. So did that answer your question?
Let me answer it. The hole in the center represents the middle of Earth. In the Greek map, it was Athens. But in this map, it's Mesopotamia. So that circle is the center of their world, Mesopotamia. The two rivers, right? Aren't those two lines the Euphrates, Tigris and Euphrates?
I have to look at it and verify.
Me too. I'm not going to claim that. I'm not going to claim that, but
yeah, anybody can go in there and look at it for themselves and break it down. That's why I say there's always sources for stuff. But my point
I'm gonna poke at this real quick. That center hole is pretty much makes it the sundial. So the sun will travel around and then it will reflect the shade, and then it will travel around on a certain solstice days and tell them where the location of whatever is designed on this through all the years and days and months, especially through what the ancestors have told them in the past. Look at all the markings on there, and they can celebrate their solstice through this, or whatever they can. They're culturally are set up for.
Well, that would be a good argument, but the thing is that just like Stick said, this represented that this was the center of the universe. So they're saying in this thing right here is this was the center of their world. Mesopotamia was the center of their world, just like anything,
Go
right?
to the Wikipedia page. There's a few images that
Your mother says you're the center of her world.
No, this is what they thought. This is actually according to Samuel.
so
Noah
that little
Kramer.
okay, by the way, the entrance to the realm of the dead, that's what that is. That circle in the middle is the entrance to the realm of the dead. I can share the image.
Yeah.
Go to
Right
Wikipedia.
here, look, it's right here. Yeah, it's right here.
Let me go back.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
And
no, you can actually
go to Wikipedia and look at that one.
This is actually from the British Museum.
This is the thing that I want you to understand, Stick. Don't go to Wikipedia when you actually have the source to read from for yourself. So actually go to the British Museum website, type in the actual number, and then read the description right here because it'll tell you everything. Right
Wait,
here.
don't you? Do you have to pay for this, or is this free?
No, this is free. This is for anybody.
So you
don't
hear
have,
that, chat? That it's free. You can actually go to it yourself.
This is the thing. Wikipedia is good, but there's somebody also taking that information that they read from there and interpreting it and then typing it and giving it to you through Wikipedia. It's better to get it from what the actual expert says, because if any argument is going to be made, you have to go to the person that actually translated and actually has it on file. And that's why it's also important to know that you can go all the way onto the bottom and you can go and find a spot where you can go and see it for yourself. It tells you exactly where it's at. So it's not like it's trying to hide anything.
Look at the star pattern on this, and there's like a star pattern on the top right. And then the star pattern, look at the pyramid shapes on the circle. You see that? But they're not, but look.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. No. Outside of the circle. Outside of the circle. We're missing pieces to this, by the way. So I'm looking at the edge markings, and then also there's legs. Look at the leg on the right side. Look at the leg at the right side, all the way to the right on the upper top of. You see the leg? There's a person there, and that it's well defined too. So we're missing a person walking. That's a calf of a leg, and there's the foot.
Oh, I can't see it, bro.
Look, you guys
zoom in. Can you zoom in? You
can't zoom in. The rays
in.
Numbered. Everything's numbered already. You guys
is that a pareidolia for me? Because I'm looking at a leg, one leg.
No, I don't see a leg, bro.
There could be like,
bro. That's all cuneiform.
Yeah,
that's all cuneiform.
Look, number 13. Okay. Number 13, right there. That little slot.
The thing is you can see it more right here. So see, this is what I'm telling you is that you can actually go to the website and see what they already drew out. So these 4 right here, these little dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Focusing. This one's
those all have numbers. Those all have numbers. They all have names. All those dots.
Yep.
Hold on.
Yep.
This is the oldest writing on Earth. There, huh?
It is some of the oldest, right? Clay tablets, but 600 is not the oldest. The Epic of Gilgamesh is like 3,000 years older.
Isn't it a shame that it's been weathered away and not?
All right. So those circles, go to those circles again. I'll tell you the number. You point at it. I'll tell you the number. It says, yeah, there you go. That's what I want you to Howard. See. That's it right there. And that has the numbers that I'm looking at, but the one you're looking at doesn't have the numbers. But the circles at the top, number 24, it's a city or tribal region. The next one down is 12. That's Haban, Kassite land. The next one down is 11. I'm not seeing that on this chart for some reason. 13 is the center of the universe, shown as a rectangle. That's the top. Like if you're looking at it as a cross, it's the T that goes across. That little number. What does that number in yours say? Right there to the right. Yeah. What does that say in there? Right in there in the middle.
It don't say nothing.
I can't see it. It's very small.
It's just a dot. It's just a dot. It doesn't say
anything. No, there's like numbers or something.
Upper right hand corner.
The cross. If you look at the cross.
On the cross.
It could be cuneiform. And so got to translate it.
It's all cuneiform.
Okay, so here's what I can see on the right hand side of the cross. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 1 to the top, it's part of the cross. That's actually mountains. Zagros Mountains. Number 2, the first circle on the right above the cross is right side. That one is actually says a generic city. That's all. Next one, 4, 3 and 4. Urartu, Armenia. All right. Well, now we know the Caspian Sea's got to be right there, right? Assyria. Number 4 is Assyria. Number 4 is Assyria. That's that. Okay, let's just look at it like a clock. That's 3 o'clock. The number 4 o'clock is number 5, Dare, D-E-R. Then 4:36. It doesn't say here. Then 7 is swamp or marshes at the mouth of the Euphrates, as we said. That's the bottom of the river right there. Those two lines match the Euphrates and Tigris. Number 8, the Susa, capital of Elam. That's the circle at the bottom. I'll cstop.
Cuneiform fell out of use between the first and third century.
This is what I like.
Okay, so let's talk about the rays. Let's talk about the rays. So
well, hold on. Let me finish. So either way, if you look at those, that shows the representation of the center of the universe, basically saying Earth. So that's something pretty interesting that I found interesting when I was doing my little.
It shows that they're actually kind of down to earth, saying, "Oh, this this Mesopotamia," and there's another map that I talked about that I saw, is the center of our universe, and that's it.
This proves that they had a trigonometric understanding of mathematics. That's what it shows. I find that very interesting.
You can find that through every civilization though, because this is 6 BC, bro. So you have math before, you have math,
but it's written here
before that. You know what I'm saying? You have math 30, 40, 70,000 years before that. So you can see how they used mathematics to always make themselves better. But this is another thing. This is another. It's supposed to be identifying the volcanic eruption depicted in a Neolithic painting. So it's actually like some kind of a map that some people consider it a map, and this one goes back to 6,600.
Very true, Loretta. Mm-hmm. Well,
so
I mean, it would be nice if somebody was in charge of preserving the history of mankind back then. Like we are today, like historians are today, they are in charge of preserving mankind's history, right? So
you're in charge. We all got to be in charge.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys ever see that movie, the Time Traveler? They built an AI, holographic AI, and it could withstand like nuclear blasts and all that stuff. And then that AI, like the time traveler would travel into the future, and the AI survived all of humanity's destruction. In fact, humanity pretty much reached to the part of extinction, but the AI survived and held all of humanity's information. In fact, humanity rebooted itself, and the AI helped humanity to regain itself through all the information. And they held the AI as a god. in this movie. If you guys ever get a chance, there's an older movie. It's called Time Traveler. I really enjoy that movie. Even though there's some fallacies in it where it's not so true, but it's fun to watch. It's entertainment, science fiction. But I love the idea that somebody came up with the idea to hold on to all of our history, all of our ideas, and pretty much didn't disintegrate with everything if something happened.
Yeah. So we always talk about the oldest maps. When we pulled up the Babylonian one, it was 6 BC, right? What is 6 BC? What is that time frame to you?
Actually, I think it goes back to 9 BC, to be honest.
Okay, we'll go to 9 BC.
Maybe 9, yeah.
Okay, so what is 9 BC to you then? Give me how many years is that?
9 BC. Well, Jesus was
is that
alive in 9 BC?
Is that 900 BC?
No, he was not before Christ.
No, hold on. Listen. Stay on topic. Y'all be trying to jump to
it was before the birth of Christ.
No, listen. Y'all trying to go to a different subject. Is it 900 BC, 9,000 BC? What is it? What is it?
It's 900.
Some people don't really know.
900.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh, 9 BC is 900 BC? What are we talking about here?
Well, I think it's older than what we just saw. Everything said 600, meaning
No,
that's
okay, so
26.
we go with 900 BC. Just
Loretta,
like,
I would love to work with remote viewers. Keep going, guys.
you said 900 BC. So this right here, this article right here, is the old. So according to this university, researchers discovered the oldest known map in Europe, and it's the Saint Bellic slab, and it goes back to actually uh
There
what's
you go.
the date at? It says
Misinformation. There you go. 2000 BC.
yeah.
Look at that.
1900 BC. I saw. It may be like 816 or 1840, 1640. That's a spread. That's
let
300
me
years.
ask you guys a question. How do you determine the age of a stone if the stone itself belongs to the earth? So the stone itself that belongs to the earth is already old.
That's easy.
Okay, so when we manufacture something
Let 'em
human
answer.
made,
How is it
we
easy?
know the age of that manufacturing because we built it at a certain time. But a stone, an object that came out of the earth, is not manufactured from zero. It's not manufactured like it was taken out. So the stone itself is old already. It comes out of the mountain already. So the mountain itself is what, millions of years old? So are we going to carbon date the stone to millions of years ago? How are we going to figure out how old it is? Someone is already assuming. I'm thinking somebody's already assuming it's a certain age just because they're the expert and we're trusting the expert.
I've
Am I
gone
right
down
or
the
wrong?
rabbit hole. I've gone down the rabbit hole and I found the stones
that's
outside
your
are half
answer before I give you mine. Go ahead. I'll give you
500
mine.
million years old. That's what they say. But do you believe it? I don't know.
No,
half
okay.
a
So I'll answer that question easy. So the one of the most important words that I was trying to pay attention to was what you said is out the earth, meaning that it was inside the earth, right? That's what you're claiming, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let me.
They're carbon dating something that's old already, right?
Okay. So when you date something,
bones are different.
No, I'm not talking about.
We know how old a bone is.
I'm staying on track.
You can't carbon date stone. You can't carbon date stone.
No, I'm going to tell you how you can do that. You can't do the stone, but you can do something else. So, okay, you said out of the earth, so that means it was inside of the earth. So when you date something, are you giving an exact date or are you giving a roundabout?
Well, oh my God, we're going down the rabbit hole, aren't we?
No. If you're dating something, I want to know if you're dating something.
Okay,
so
there's different layers here. Like there's layers of, let's say, for instance, this happened at this point, so the stone came from this point of time, and there was like there was these storms, and there was a flood, and so these stones came from this point of time of the earth, and then this layers when there were volcanoes and there was ashes, and then there was layers underneath that one, and humans decided to dig under or go down a cave, and they found these awesome stones, and so that was a different time period, so they got these stones from that time period. It could be any of those things, right? So the thing is that it's inaccurate. To me, it's inaccurate. But I could be wrong. I'm not a geologist. That's the other thing. I'm not a geologist. If I was a geologist, if we had a geologist right now that could explain all these things, but also a geologist can say it's not an exact science.
I'm trying to explain it to you, but you won't let me explain it to you. So
go ahead.
This another thing that you explained that I liked what you said. See, you let somebody
go for it.
Enough. This is how you let it. So you said the first thing was the stone was in the ground, meaning that it was covered up by earth, right? Then you also said that people would dig down there, meaning that they would dig there and you would see. So this is the easy way how you do it. So you don't date the stone itself. You would date the surrounding artifacts that you can possibly find around that stone, or organic matter for that matter. And you'll see that you'll get a certain date. Then you would dig further underneath that and find something else. Uh-huh. So you will have a date for the one thing that you already found. Then you would dig further deeper and find something else and say, okay, this is another artifact that we found. This is the date for this. So that's why I asked you specifically the question, when you date something, specifically when you date something, do you give an exact date or a roundabout? You won't get an exact number. That's why every number is either 6 BC, 7 BC, or it's 1900 or 2000 or whatever the case may be. You would never get an exact date. You will always get an around about date. And that's with anything, even with with the limited warranty, with anything that you own, you have, okay, you might get 2 years, or you may get 3 years, or you may get 4 years. But the point is that you find that artifact that's with that stone, that organic matter or whatever you can date in that surrounding area. You get your date, then you dig further and you find something and you date that and you get the roundabout date. Exactly how I found it.
But how do we know they didn't dig that later?
I can't remember his name now.
But what if they dug that later? Let's say they dug that before BC. What if they dug it up later on, and then that's when they started carving it?
Hey, Fat Jesus, that's not my job, man.
That's not my job, man. That's not my job.
Well, if they dug it up, if they dug it up, right, and it's on the ground,
I apologize, guys, attacking you guys. I'm being social media here. I'm the people in the chat room attacking you guys, asking the tough questions, and I want you guys to answer it. I do apologize.
Okay, I want to mention that Babylonian map. I want to mention that Babylonian map again. The outer boundaries, the Bitter River, and those rays, they were these distances, these regions depicted as triangles. They represented remote, often mythical islands or lands beyond. Yeah. And one of the examples is where the sun is not seen, number 18, which is at the top. And then an eastern region where the morning dawns, that's over on the east. And the other one's on the left. And we saw another picture where there was one right on the top that's not here. So it is still, by the way, I admitted in my last video about this map, I said, AI just told me about it. I need to do more research to understand this. I still don't know if they really on the right side, if it's really all these real places, because I don't recognize any on the left.
This is the thing. That map is according to a group of people from that time frame that believed it. You know, every trading company had their own idea of what the world looked like. That's not the only map from 6 BC. You can go type right now in ChatGPT, because there's plenty of them. Like I said, I got a lot of sources up right now that it tells you that there were all kinds of maps, that everybody had their own. Everybody had their own type. The only reason why people talk about the Babylonian,
a lot of maps showed Israel, Judea in the center, and they show the center because of the Torah, because of the Bible, Old Testament. That's the center, and a lot of these maps, they show that, and Christ is right there in the middle. It's Israel. And
we're avoiding the elephant in the room, guys.
What's that?
Giants.
Giants.
Did they exist or did they not? I mean, these massive megalithic stones that humans are little tiny humans running around pulling lines of humans. You know, the population of Earth today are billions, but back then are just a couple 100,000 people around the Earth. I don't think there were no billions of people around the Earth back then. And life expectancy back then was probably up to 45 years of age. They didn't have antibiotics and all that stuff. They didn't have all that.
You know what? I'm not there with you. I believe advanced civilizations existed. You've seen this.
I believe it too.
The elongated skull with the metal on the side, right? Elongated skull has the metal on the side. It was a surgery. It was clear that it had grown and the bone had wrapped around it. And that's advanced, and we're covering it up. So I don't even think about things like, oh, we didn't have antibiotics. I think we probably did. They just don't admit it. I think we probably
say antibiotics. Are y'all talking about stuff that you like getting shots and stuff like that? Because they didn't.
Well, okay, so I don't believe antibiotics is the word we want for brain surgery. That's for getting rid of infection. But we're talking about advanced medicine, but in the past.
And what do you mean by advanced medicine? Because you know most of our medicine comes from plants, right? Or some type of animal, right?
How do I make antibiotics in my house right now?
That's what alchemy is all about.
Well, I need to make some.
I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. The we were dying of diseases, and we were most of culture was associating these magical diseases from God punishing them. This is how cultures would relate. They would say that the god from the volcano, or in culture, they would sing about these things and they would pass it on to their children. If you do this wrong, God will destroy you.
It's even
And
sadder.
all our family lineage will die. So you must stay healthy. You must eat this. You must sacrifice a virgin. You must do, all these rules that made no sense. But they didn't have the science back then. They did things that were they just didn't know. You can't blame them.
Hey, so explain this right here, Stig. I got it up now. Explain this. This is that old Babylonian map that we was talking about.
Yeah,
but before you do that, let me do this real quick. Before you do that, Ptolemy wrote 2 books that's very important. One of them is Geography. Well, he wrote a lot of books, but the ones that's perfect for this. One of them I have on my Kindle. The other one I have here is one is Geographia. I actually have the original version that he wrote in the language that he has, and I'm supposed to sometime in my lifetime, when I get the time, is take the picture and put it in ChatGPT and have it translated over for me by itself. But the other book is this one right here, Ptolemy's Almagest. Now this is the book that tells you about how the Earth is supposed to be.
Thank you, Howard.
I guess in what is it? What's that word? Oh man. It tells you the position of the Earth and how it is and stuff like that, according to the universe and stuff like that. And it's a very thick book. I got a lot of tabs on it. I'll be going over it in the future on my YouTube, like I do with all my books, what I've learned from it. Actually, me and Fat Jesus will. So you'll be getting what this is. We will
be going over.
This is a thick book. This was actually one of the worst books that I've ever read. This is one of the hardest.
Don't do that to me, bro. Don't do that to me.
No, this was one of the hardest books I've ever read. Okay, so I read the first tab right here because it'll explain exactly.
Why are you reading the worst book you ever read to us?
Because it's not the words, it's the mathematics.
Oh,
it's the math. This book is nothing but straight up math, bro. Like straight up.
I did terrible in math. So
like I'm talking about when I say math, I mean math. Like I'm not smart, but I'm gonna read the first tab.
I'm the social science person here. Anthropology is my thing, but science and mathematics is.
I don't do math. So this is the very first tab of this book. This is a great explanation. It says Ptolemy accomplished his task within a cosmological framework almost universally accepted in his day. The Earth-centered or geocentric worldview. He admits at the outset that it might perhaps be simpler from a strictly celestial viewpoint to have the Earth spinning daily on its axis rather than to have the entire heavens rotating about the Earth. But this, he says, fails to take into account the terrestrial physics. If the Earth moved, living things and individual heavy objects would be left behind, riding on the air, and the Earth would very soon have fallen completely out of the heavens. But merely to think of such things is utterly ridiculous. And so far, after a few pages devoted to his cosmological assumptions, Ptolemy marches on to the practical matter of a mathematical description of the heavens. So this is when people talk about religion, they don't understand that mathematics and religion go hand in hand. It's always been one and the same. When I hear people talk about religion, I don't think they understand what real religion is. It's mathematics. It's mathematical movements. It really is nothing but numbers. A lot of people, when they hear religion, they think about God, Christ, Virgin Mary, the apostles, disciples, and all these
control.
Other things.
That's control. They don't understand in our society.
That's my problem with religion. It's all control.
But this is the thing. It's not control. This is what people think it is because they don't understand that these people who are sharing this information is widely shared to anybody. I bought this book off of Amazon. Imagine 7.7 billion people on this planet going to buy this book and reading it and trying to understand what these people meant back in those thousands of years ago. This is literally this book right here in Geographia. The other one that I have on my Kindle, I'm telling you, it literally is the bread and butter on why we have world maps today. Okay, because this is supposedly be they're supposed to
Rebirth. But
be
you see,
the
you're a
basics.
person of intelligence, and you're educated. And back then, 1,000 years ago, you would be a wizard. You would be part of the courts. You know how everybody else, they didn't have education. They would probably have a trade or something like that. But as far as reading books and all that stuff, people were very limited when it comes to reading. And today, it is a privilege to be able to read. People don't understand what they
Yeah,
have.
that's what I'm saying. That's why
They don't
when I hear
understand
people,
what they have. In fact,
that's what I'm saying. When I hear
we are
people say things,
losing reading. We're
yeah,
actually losing reading books today because we're busy on social media all the time.
I got the
Yeah, but
kid. I
don't
have it.
forget that the Bible and the Odyssey, the story by Homer, that was all oral tradition. I mean, you think Moses really wrote something down? It was oral tradition that wrote what Moses did in the Bible.
And
It
that
was
was because he was the leader. And not everybody else could stand up front and talk. They were all listening and they stood back there. I'm sure there was a couple of few that said, I want to lead this group. But those were only the few. And those created like a gold calf and all that stuff. And I'll lead you, and those probably were the few that were educated, probably tax collectors or something like that,
But this is the thing. This is the thing. This is why this is important. This is the reason why I said that. Go back to that picture. This picture that Stig is about to explain is the Babylonian. Supposed to be one of the oldest maps out there, according to some people. Of course, I already gave you some ideas of what are some possibly older maps, even including the one they found in Europe. But this one is supposed to be, and we'll bring it up again, that the original thing. But the Almagest is
our
literally
world is
about
chaos.
the
Keep going.
the Almagest is literally a geocentric model, meaning that the Earth is stationary in the center of the universe. So even the Sumerians thought that, and even then at this time frame, in the Greek time frame, and then, sometime thousands of years after that, and even in today, some people still believe the Earth is universe. The only reason why I brought up those triangles is because those are very important. I didn't really notice those until I started really thinking about cylinder seal VA243, where they show that. And that could have been the depiction. Everybody's arguing
There's
about
a
Planet
connection
Nibiru.
to these two.
But that's what I'm saying, is that everybody's arguing about Planet Nibiru and, this, that, and third. Zachariah Sitchin was right that there was a 13th planet and blah, 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 blah. And Dr. Michael S. Heiser saying that's not the representation of the sun.
Wait. Did Zachary Stitchin have the information that you have today? Because he's long gone, right?
He had to know this. He had to know this. This information has been out since he before he was born. I think it was like 32, 18.
Yeah, but you have the internet, you have the connections, you have.
This is the thing.
You
though.
have all this stuff.
Okay. Let's say
he had
let's
to travel to museum to get this information, right?
Okay, let's say he didn't know about this. Okay, Billy Carson. Why is he still saying it? He has this same information? Why is he saying that? And he's saying he can read every single one of the texts himself. Why is he saying that? Forget Zachariah Sitchin then, because Billy Carson is taking over the throne for Billy Carson right now, or
really?
For Zachariah Sitchin right now. Yeah, because he's the one that's preaching the whole thing. The Anunnaki. He's still saying that the Anunnaki is coming from planet Nibiru. But that cylinder seal VA243 that Zachariah Sitchin held, if he didn't have this information and this was the indicator, if he's seen this is more factual information than any of them what they're saying. That cylinder seal literally showed what this could have been. Dr. Michael S. Heiser doesn't believe that's the sun. In my previous videos, plenty of my videos in my old YouTube channel, I used to say and I still always say I never agreed with what his theory was either. And the only reason why was, but now I go back because now I'm looking at it more and I see those 7 circles, and that has always been a representation of Pleiades. And he does talk about that has to do more with Pleiades than it does with than the sun, which I did agree with him on that on the part that now that I see this part. So now you see how research and journey carries and goes on. But now the theory is okay, both of them we're arguing about the wrong thing. This was never a representation of the sun, and this was never a representation of Pleiades. Pleiades is also a representation of agriculture, meaning that when you see the Pleiades star system in the sky, that was time to do some agricultural needs in some cases.
That's a
So that
cultural
doesn't
thing.
mean that so it doesn't always have to be that it had to do with the stars. It just had to
It was
do
a
with
big deal
agriculture.
back then. It was
Exactly.
cultural. It was very
So
cultural, and it
now,
wasn't just one culture that did that. Many cultures around the world did the same thing, which was really
yes,
amazing.
now,
Even in Mexico, everywhere else, they followed the stars.
yeah,
They
exactly. The
connected them
Taino
together.
people, yes, they did it.
Yep.
The Mayans, they did it. Matter of fact, the Popol Vuh talks
They
about
didn't have
how
cell phones
no,
back
no, hold
then,
on.
guys.
This is what's the funny thing is that
They had
Popol Vuh-
handbags.
I actually have the Popol Vuh in my library, and I literally have in there the 400 boys is what created the Pleiades star system.
Bro, what about those handbags? You ever see that? I know that some of you guys may feel indifferent about that, but every culture has a handbag. It could be just a handbag. You know what I'm saying? But every depiction shows a handbag being held like it's a cell phone, like a communication device. People are assuming it's a conspiracy theory, of course, but they think the handbag is an actual cell phone device, like a communication device, and that's what was connecting to every tribe around the world. And that's
Graham Hancock calls that the man bag.
Not the handbag, the man bag.
Exactly what that is. You're talking about the bag that the Apkallu is holding in their hands.
All of that the tribe, all of them in India, in Mexico,
I'm going to tell you what that represented.
Fat Jesus, let him talk. I want to hear this.
Yeah,
let him talk.
I'm going to tell you exactly what it represented. It was
this.
It was like seeds. It was like seeds or medicinal usage, like flowers or herbs.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
This is the word. I can never remember the word, but it starts with the B, so I have to look it up. It's a word it starts with the B. It's like a bandaduk or something like that. Hold on, let me look it up real quick.
So all of them had the same idea, holding seeds in the bag.
Yeah, because that's what you think you do.
I've heard this before. Yeah, I've heard that before.
If you doing agriculture, yeah.
So everybody around the world.
Wait, but then they try to say it's symbolic and that it's not just the seeds of agriculture. They try to say it's the seeds of mental whatever, being totally smart. Hitting the high point in your brain. It's I believe what Tyrone's saying. You read that where?
I actually just posted that on X just not too long ago.
They always lie about stuff like this. Handbags hold the human and the Thuman, Howard says.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a representation, not just seeds, but like medicine. It was like
I don't know, guys, but I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on with my unicorn antenna on it, and I'm gonna tell you guys that thing is a communication device. So I don't know about you guys, and I don't have any proof about it, but I'm telling you, I got a gut feeling.
Yeah, there we go. It's called a It's called a bandudu. It's from the Neo-Assyrian release. It's from the Apkallu. Is basically a cone shaped purifier. Some people do it like it's basically like some people do it as agriculture, fertility, pollination, date palm, rituals. It was used for different things in the bag. The Apkallu is like it's just here. I'll bring up the
like my hat.
Here, I'll bring up the source because I don't like to say nothing that I can't prove and show you guys myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring up the source for you guys because I don't do tinfoil hats. I do what they're telling me, and then I try to see how I can better understand the facts. So
I got mine out.
So this is what you're talking about.
I am part of
the
tinfoil hat army right now. I am supporting them. And I am telling their side of the story.
So this is it right here, and this is where secret societies and rituals and things like that come into play. So this is basic, like I said, one of my favorite websites that I always talk about is the British Museum. This is actually what you're talking about. You see the little cone. Then you see the little bag right here that they're always.
And what about the fucking pineal gland in his other hand? And so is it seeds or is it pollen? Because I
So
always
this
thought
is
of it more as pollen instead of
so
seeds.
this I'm
Here-
about to I'm
hey.
about to I'm about to tell you guys. So hold on, here we
Hey,
go. So
hey, it reminds me of the lady that plugs in the device whenever you call in back in the 50s. When they call in, they plug in, sir, what do you want to call? And then they plug in and into the next person so you can communicate with the other person.
I know it. I know what
Go
you're
ahead,
talking
go
about.
ahead.
So it says it's a and this is from 875 BC to 860. So there's different
Damn,
versions
that's
of
a
these
long
right
time ago, people.
there.
God,
There's different versions of these.
That's
but
875. Oh my god, that is
Yep.
old. But you know what?
875.
Isn't
that's a
the
long
epic of,
time.
the
What is
epic
that
of
in his
Gilgamesh?
pants? What's that in his pants? I mean, in
Obviously,
his
it's-
skirt.
It's obviously hanging out. You can see what it is.
Yeah.
It's called a circumcised penis. It's called a circumcised
Don't
penis.
say it, David. We on YouTube, fool. You gonna get us all shut down? Shit.
Hey, obviously, it's a bird. Okay, guys, it's a bird.
God damn, they don't know how to calm
It's
his
a
ass
bird.
down.
It's a bird. It's a bird.
All right, so it's basically it's just all it is the cone in his right hand is described in an Assyrian text as a purifier and was presumably envisaged as
All right, let's
being
get
covered
serious.
in liquid from the bucket in his left hand. And the cone may derive its shape from the male date space used to fertilize female date palms. And then, the third leg.
Loretta. She's joining
On the
in.
right is a half sacred tree, again, a symbol of great importance in Assyria. The trunk has a large palmette at its top and a network of palmettes surrounding it, only half of which are preserved. On the piece around the trunk are sets of horizontal binding, each supporting hornline, growths, volutes, and chevron patterns up. And this is
Basically, what Loretta said. Loretta said it.
So what?
fertility.
I'm
Fertility.
so into the details on this carving because obviously he has his tools underneath his under his armpit. You see the tools underneath the armpit? Go up. There you go. Zoom in on the tools.
You can't zoom in anymore.
Oh, no more. Look at those tools, guys. It
guys,
makes
you
you
know
want.
what?
It makes you want. It
Can I
makes
just
you
say something on
wonder.
the side?
Makes you wonder what
am-
those tools are for.
I got a lot of neighbors that went away for the season and they give me their food, and this is vegan meatball. That is a vegan meatball, and I was eating it and I cannot finish it. I am throwing it in the garbage. Vegan meatball
Dude,
out.
look at the cuneiform on that, and they're saying that's old.
Yeah, it's got to be. That's you just said 900 BC, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
975. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's a long
isn't
time.
the Epic of
875.
Gilgamesh is older, right?
Checking
The
out-
Epic
we're
The Epic of Gilgamesh is much older. It's from the time of Sumeria before Akkad. The Epic of Gilgamesh is like 3000 BC. Am I wrong? Isn't
Not
it
an
like
expert at the
5,000 years old?
now you're going beyond my expertise on Gilgamesh.
Well, I just did a video, but I have to check the
that
numbers.
is in the realm of rebirth. Rebirth is the expert in the historical artifacts of that era.
Well, every time I've presented my numbers to him, he's always agreed. But at the same time, my memory might be failing me, and I just think that 600 BC is not old enough. We're talking about, or I'm sorry, 900 now for this one, this image here, and that image shows a lot of cuneiform above the Birdman. Who is that guy again?
Guys, look at the detail on the wall in BC. Look at the detail without a Dremel tool. That is insane. That's insane. Don't tell me they chiseled that. That's no way. No way. I do not believe that.
Well, it
That
could
is-
be clay, right? Is it clay or is it a
No,
stone?
that
I
is
think it's
just
clay.
Yeah, it's
stone.
clay.
Is
Yeah,
it
it's
clay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it's
use-
clay.
Is
Where's
that
it at?
clay?
Yeah,
Come
they molded clay and then they copied it.
Where's
But
it at?
then this
Oh.
one, I don't know for sure.
Did that not come from the actual stone? Where
That would be a little bit too hard to do. You can't do cuneiform in stone like that. It typically cuneiform is done in soft clay with a stylus.
Okay. Well, thank you for teaching me.
I mean, as far as I know,
that
there's
looks like stone to me. But if that's clay, that's amazing.
Well, I mean, that's how they do cuneiform. They have the stylus. It's like a bamboo or a stick that has like a little shape.
I'm learning something new.
Yeah, but then this thing, you're right. It is highly detailed. And from my understanding, they must have done it in wet clay, from what I'm understanding, because of what I just said.
That's so amazing. So they didn't do it when it was dry. They did it when it was wet. That
Yeah.
makes more sense. That makes more sense.
They have a lot of clay tablets, and yes, the stylus is not a perfect line. It's like a T shape. It's a special shape, and they basically it's a triangle, but it's a very
they would have to make
triangle.
copies of that.
They did it. They copied it. They copied them again and again, especially like the Epic of Gilgamesh was copied
corrected
over and over again. I believe it came from oral tradition in the beginning. Homer is that old, man. You mentioned 900 BC.
Look. The idea, the word copy. The word copy is nothing new, guys. Just the idea of the word copy in the cultural realm, the word copy, to copy something. So if your teacher says, do not copy, well, tell them, well, copying existed over 900 BC, over what, 5,000, 6,000 years ago. So you can't be telling me not to copy.
This is the original. I mean, these books were copied.
I'm doing something cultural.
These books were copied, and they're oral tradition originally.
Might get an F.
I believe that the Moses story was orally passed on, and then suddenly they started writing it down about 700 BC. If you look at Homer, Odysseus, Odyssey, and Iliad, those were written down in the 600 after Homer was already dead, like 200 years. The oral tradition was passed on, and people were writing it down finally, and they're like, no, that's not what he said. He said this. And then that edition is standardized, and this is the standardized version of the English Bible. And so the standardized part is different from the whole like, where's the book of Enoch? Oh, that was left out.
Interpretation changes, though. People interpret things differently depending on the current cultural ideas of that time. So what they believed in back then it's like the train idea. In college, they actually do this in 9th grade to everybody in college do this. They do the train. So one kid passes on information to another kid behind them, and they pass it on to the other kid, and they do this all over the world in classes. And then the children, I call them children, but 9th grade, they're young adults, and they learn that information passed on from the back of the line to the front of the line completely changes. It's not the same information. So this happens.
They call that the telephone game. It's called the telephone game. And I'd like to remind you, the Plato story didn't come from the telephone game. Plato saw the notes of Solon. Plato knew Critias, and Critias studied those notes as a child, and he has still held those notes today. It wasn't the telephone game for the Atlantis story. The thing about the telephone game is,
what do you think,
tradition. Well, oral tradition.
Rebirth is researching.
What exactly? Because y'all jumped two seconds.
Hold on for a second. Rebirth, can you share my screen real quick?
Yeah, bring it up.
And I have to do the whole thing, don't I?
Yeah, you got to do it. You've got to initiate.
Hold on. I got to initiate.
So the Homer story of Odysseus, the Odyssey, the voyage. The Odyssey means a voyage, of a crazy voyage, and that's the oldest Western understanding of oral tradition first, but then a story in itself. Same with Iliad. While they're related by the same guy, they're from the 800 BC, the 8th century.
Is this what you saw in the night sky? Is this your UFO?
My God, what is that? Oh my God, look at that! Yeah, that's
Starlink.
Okay.
Those are over
All right.
26 satellites.
What the heck am I looking at, bro?
That's
Can you
26 satellites.
where? Yeah, that's what I saw last night. That's what I
So
saw.
that's Starlink.
Here, I'm gonna grab a screenshot of that, and then we're done. I pretty
I
much.
mean,
got it.
I could send you a link on that. That's
Well,
Starlink.
back it up. Oh wait, I got it, but I want to back it up. I didn't get it.
I mean,
yet.
they show you better right there.
Oh, there. Wait, let me get that one more time. Hold on.
You want me to pause it?
Just back it up a little more, and then I'll do it again. Yeah, right there. Go ahead. You can run it.
All right.
So wait, I can't. Wait. Yeah.
But
okay.
Did you
so
see?
that's what I saw. That's what I saw.
Is this the amount of lights did you see in the sky? Because if
It
you saw
felt
less,
like it. It felt like it, but you saw my image, and my image wasn't as it wasn't like that.
wait, but
Yeah,
did
the
you
camera's
see
not going. The
less
camera's
lights
not going to have
or
enough,
just as much light?
sensor big enough to do that.
In my opinion, there were as many lights as in your image.
Okay,
in my
then
opinion.
that
I
was
just couldn't grab it.
definitely Starlink.
Camera, yeah. Well, obviously, even with what we saw with I shared, that's obviously Starlink. I never knew about that. I never knew about it. Wow.
It can be mistaken for a UFO.
Well, I didn't. Okay, look, you saw. I never said it's a UFO. Because I'll tell you right now, my mom, by the way, she just had a stroke. She's in a new institution.
I am so sorry, brother.
And we're working on her happiness, but she always hit UFO with me. I'll never say it's a UFO. When I saw that, I thought actually Starlink was actually already on my list of explanations because but I just can't believe it. I never knew about that. That is just crazy. Look at that. It's just crazy. It's like an army. It's like a freaking military. Like imagine if that was fucking Star Wars right there instead of Starlink. Look at that go.
Now,
oh my god.
Let me tell you, there's over 40,000 now actually right now there's over 60,000 of Starlink satellites around the world.
Yeah. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. About 35, 36, 37 of those. Like 40 almost in a row.
Yeah, there's a lot more. Some of them will go out, and then depending on the lighting of the sun and reflecting off of it.
That's exactly what I saw,
orbit.
man. I mean, that's better than what I saw. And by the way, I could barely focus, so I'm like, I should have grabbed my binoculars. They were right there. You know, the funny thing that reminds me of is called the string of pearls. Sorry, the string of pearls. If you're not aware, there was a comet that went around the sun, and then it blew apart. It didn't make it, and it blew into pieces. And those 20 pieces went straight into Jupiter. It's called the string of pearls. It was a line of stars, looked just like that, and then it blasted into Jupiter. And I think many people know about that already. I forgot the name of it.
Is that right here? This is where it travels over California in this area.
Bro, how'd you find that? Did someone give that to you, or did you just grab that yourself?
Sat Flare. Sat Flare tells you the location of Starlink, and it travels over here. So it shows you the direction of where This is all the Starlinks and all around the world.
I thought there was even more. And by the way, I do have Starlink. I do have Starlink. It's not cheap. I regret it every month when I pay $165 a month.
If you travel a lot and you're in areas where you don't get cell phone really well, it's worth it. If you do a lot of traveling, yeah, it's worth the money. But if you're always at home, no, it's not worth it because
I don't have other ways. Trust me, I really don't have other ways.
Yeah. But if you travel to like Peru in the mountains, if you do archaeological digs, Starlink is a godsend. It is the most amazing thing to have because you're in the middle of nowhere where there's no antennas, and cell phones are more expensive than the satellite itself because you're only paying monthly for Starlink. And if you're in Peru, you're going to be paying like $300, $400, with cell phones. With the amount of hours you're going to put into it with a stream. So you can't do video stream. You could only talk. So Starlink is amazing. So yeah, you're doing pretty good.
Speaking of
that's pretty much it. Is there anything else y'all want to talk about? Because we already went through it. through everything pretty much. And I know Stick said he wanted to keep
But
it short.
here's something from the Smithsonian. Projectile train for the moon from the Earth to the moon directly in 97 hours from Jules Verne. I mean, they predicted the whole the whole train traveling to the moon and everything like that. And here we are today doing exactly that.
Let's think about that though. Do you really think that? I mean, come on, you never thought about having something go from Earth to the moon when you was a little kid?
You know, my imagination does not go that far when I was a little kid. I
Yeah,
always
see, when I was
thought
a
I
little
always
kid, I
thought
used to
about
think
it
that
like
shit.
I always thought about me just like God would put me there. Like, I mean, I was religious, so God would just transport me there. Like an angel will take me and put me there. I didn't think about like a rocket ship or something like that. I didn't know too much about the atmosphere or not breathing in space. If angels can travel in space, then I can travel in space, right? That was my
I
mentality.
Some
always
people
used to
think it has a very funny smell. Space does. It's not just cut and dry like void. It's actually something more than just the vacuum people think it is, and it has a funny smell. And if you're out there, you know, you have to get used to it. Hey, what about that Artemis 2 passage? Artemis 2 just went by the moon, and I bet you they didn't even get out. They just went past, and that's special. Why are we impressed with that? I don't even believe it.
I believe it. Artemis 2 is getting the telemetry that was lost. That's old telemetry to go to the moon, because when time goes by, everything moves. So the moon is not in the same location as it used to be. The Earth has moved as also. So if we try to use old telemetry for the new rocket ships that are going to be landing on the moon, we could hit and miss. Like if we were to travel out there again, we can actually sacrifice a lot of people's lives, and we could lose a lot of trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
So that's why they're redoing everything all over again. And people are saying, "Oh, this is fake. This is fake." It's just like last time, you know. And there's a lot of videos out there also, and of course they have videos out there of science fiction films, people pretending, because it was so famous to go to the moon. They made science fiction films, and they look so awful because they were people on hoisted lines pretending to be in space, and it's so ridiculous looking. But you know, they only did as much as they could with science fiction films. It was, you know, so, but people are claiming, oh, that's NASA made that's they faked the whole NASA thing. I'm like, well, you guys want to believe what you want to believe, but you know, they're going to be launching rockets again, and they're going to be launching what is it, Jeff Bezos is going to be launching. They're going to be setting up in the moon. That's going to be a whole economy up there. They're going to be mining.
Yeah, we're going to colonize the universe.
It's all about mining. Of course, they're mining.
It's all, yeah. So everybody's already starting to leave already as it is, because you know it's late for them. It's 11:30 p.m. here Eastern time. It's what 8:30 p.m. for you, Stick, right?
Yep, 8:30, yeah, so right on the money. Good job.
This is a
great job.
Yeah, this was a good show. Good conversations, good flow.
Thank you everybody for watching Fat Jesus Live.
So
I hope I entertain y'all.
Yeah, like I always say, till next time, knowledge is power.
Got a little hype now, can I let it die down? I remember days in the trench. Time to go hard in, time to go all in, time to give my all to this shit. Panamera maxed out, first class flights out and landed to Pacific, yeah, it's lit.